Welcome once again to Global Reports here on Liberty Television at our Kaduna studios. As normal, we show our viewers news from around the world, from trending news, and welcome to our viewers who are watching us on Star Times across Nigeria and other platforms across West Africa, and to our viewers streaming on the internet on Facebook and YouTube. Today we have in the studio our good friend and guest, that's Professor Khalifa Dikwa. Good afternoon, Prof.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This week has been another week of news, another week of tragedies. We start in Sri Lanka, where on Good Friday, which is the Christian holiday to celebrate the death of Jesus Christ, 50 people, I think the last issue, died in churches and in hotels, including foreigners in the capital Colombo and other cities. Watch this brief report from BBC UK.
Hello, 290 people are now known to have died in a series of explosions that hit churches and luxury hotels in Sri Lanka on Easter Sunday. The country's Prime Minister says there should be an investigation into why intelligence reports of possible attacks were not acted upon. He also said the priority now was to catch those responsible for planning the attacks. Police are interrogating 24 suspects, but so far no group has admitted responsibility for the bombings. Our correspondent, Yogita Limai, sent us this report from Colombo.
This is where people had gathered to pray. But a bomb ripped through the peace of Easter Sunday. Dozens were killed here at St. Anthony's Shrine in Colombo.
I heard the explosion and then the roof fell on us. We took the children and ran out from the rear door. But when I came to the hospital, I saw my brother-in-law and son on the ground.
At around the same time, an explosion took place here in this Catholic-dominated town just north of the capital, Colombo, at a church which is just down the street. We're not allowed to go past this point right now because of security reasons, but this is believed to have been the deadliest of all the bombings. A church in eastern Sri Lanka was also attacked. Families rushed to hospitals looking for loved ones. For hundreds, that search ended in heartbreak. Sri Lanka is home to more than 1 million Christians, a community that's been left shaken.
I also like to ask the government to hold a very impartial, strong inquiry and find out who is responsible behind this act, and also to punish them mercilessly.
3 luxury hotels in Colombo were also targeted, popular with tourists. Many foreign travelers are among those killed, and 5 British citizens have also lost their lives. Investigators have been searching for evidence. A guest staying on the 25th floor of this hotel, the Shangri-La, described what happened.
We could hear 2 loud bangs and the entire room was shaking. I could see that a lot of guests are being taken to different hospitals. There were casualties both for the hotel staff and the guests.
For many, a holiday has turned into a nightmare. 20-year-old Jason Allen is from America. He's being treated for his injuries. Security forces raided a house where they believed some of those involved in the attack were hiding. 3 policemen died. Several people have been arrested in connection with the bombings.
we must also look into why adequate precautions were not taken in this respect. But first and foremost, we have to ensure that terrorism does not lift its head in Sri Lanka.
A curfew is in place across the country. Security has been heightened at churches, hotels and the airport, among other places. Since its bloody civil war ended 10 years ago, it's the deadliest day Sri Lanka has seen.
Yeah, very sad incidents which is coinciding with a religious event, or religious holiday, shall we say. Prof, would you like to make a comment on this?
Very sad indeed. It has nothing to do with religion. It is just about criminality, drug addiction and so on, hard drugs and so on. No religion has ever justified the killing of the innocent.
Mm.
So imagine the other time in the US, they came after the church, they came after the synagogue, and the same killers went after the mosque in New Zealand. And again today, is it the best way to say that we still want our autonomy from Sri Lanka?
Yeah.
The war ended 10 years ago. But imagine using Tamil tigers and so on. That's the best way. Today's world now, you have the opportunity of writing in the media. You can access TV and so on to say it while resorting to the arms. It is no longer, it is never justified. This particular mentality that was created by the Western intelligence, with which it created extreme views anchored in the Middle East. There's been extremist few, but very few, but not organized as it was in the ISIS, Taliban, and so on. It was created in in the late 70s and early 80s, and today. The original Islam of Prophet Muhammad was not there. The Jews had their own way, and others, so they had even those with traditional things. They were never attacked. All the jihadi things that you hear about in hadith and so on had to do with self-defense. Never attacking others because of the faith, because there's no compulsion.
There was even regulations. Even in time of war.
Exactly. Not going after the children, women.
You will not attack.
Look at the children now killed. Even non-combatant, nobody. You are not facing another force to defend yourself. Bombing these people has to do with evil. Evil, unless the West, including the United States, now come back and say, come on. Like we said to the leaders of the Middle East, go back. Under Trump, that's why from time to time I said there is a blessing in somebody who doesn't know the establishment. He said, go back to your original tolerant Islam.
Who said that?
Donald Trump. He said, go back to your original tolerant Islam. And this Wahhabi thing was from 1980s to date.
But
after corrupting,
from
Saudi
Arabia.
Yes, that is the thing. Because the young ones who are given scholarship never expected this kind of thing to have come from Medina, from Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, and others. That particular scenario created in the minds of the people. And then the West again doing the wrong thing after creating this particular thing and smuggled it into the curriculum, the education curriculum of the West. Therefore, those who were born in the 80s, early 80s, never knew the original thing, because the few hadith, the tradition that were more elevated, they never even referred to the tolerance among the four schools of thought that you say. We have Malik, that we have mostly in our area, Shafi, Hanbali, and the other one. There are four of them. Those level of tolerance have been there. But they never talked about it. They only say
yeah, it's true.
Violence.
People only talk. They don't talk about the tolerance of Islam as a religion.
Islam as a religion.
Like
hence, even the name, Arthur Brooks. Even the name Islam means a peace, submission to the will of God, submission to this. And they made Islam a different name. They allowed sex, little sex, to behave like religions above the original one religion that you, despite the little differences, you have the basic things like the Kaaba you face, the number of daily prayers, the zakat and so on. So elevating the little things above the big major ones that bring together people.
This was why I often wondered why some of these groups would always be emphasizing things like Sharia law more than, as you said,
deliberately to provoke.
Deliberately, yes.
Deliberately to provoke, and when you check, there is money in it.
Yeah.
There is money.
And then it will provoke non-believers.
Non-believers, exactly.
Say, Islam wants to impose their laws
and they
on
elevate
me.
it.
So then you
they
get
elevate
a
it.
Problem, yeah.
And I want people to understand that what the intelligent, the antichrist people now coming after Islam, they were the same people who went after Christianity. They were all over intruding into the Vatican, Catholicism and so on, which is basically in Sri Lanka, in France. Look at the half of they did not want the Christianity to be united. They elevated the few sects over and above within 1 kilometer's range. For instance, now in the southeast, for instance, in Nigeria, within a range of 1 kilometer, you will have about 10 or 20 different churches. They don't even, they are not even in talking terms. They don't even talk to one another.
Yeah, we have, in Christianity, it has its own
exactly,
splits.
With denominations and so on. Having destroyed this thing, having smuggled into Christianity things like a pastor, a female pastor. Even the word pastor means father. They smuggled it, with which women, because naturally women are envious of each other, women decided not to go to the church. Again, it was not enough. They came in again, they created gays, openly gays people to rule the church. That is, again, people started not going again. It was a deliberate attempt to yes, exactly, and so on. Yeah. So, and after creating so many interpretations in the Bible, and we should understand what they did to Moses. The questions, the funny questions they were asking Moses and so on. A religion as a whole, what you call Islam, Christianity, it was one religion under Abraham.
Same, yeah.
Yes, the same Abraham. Yes, Abrahamic, for instance, in economy and so on. It was the economy. When you say Abraham, you are saying Christianity and you are saying Islam. But those anti-God are saying no. Capitalism will do with something that has to do with Judaism. Exactly. Yeah. Judaism is just there are few, and it unfortunately Judaism was made something like racism with the rejection of Ethiopians, all the other races and so on. It became something more of racism than religion. So this is what is happening. The same thing, what we call them in the past. During, they always use the name of a good scholar in order to sell the idea. Wahhabism, like Abdul Wahab, was a great fellow. The same thing with you have in our own case. This scenario that the bombing in Sri Lanka is not different from the ones now happening in the name of Islam in Somalia, in northern Nigeria with Boko Haram and all over. Yeah. It was a misplacement, and it is when you check there is drug, hard drugs, and money. Money. The devil's advocates are willing to pay a lot of money in order to destroy the world.
Well, even with ISIS, the people who witnessed them say they were most of the time they're on drugs, and they were more interested in getting hold of young girls than actually, some of them didn't even know the Quran very well.
What they don't know. Was it not the same thing, for instance, to say, whoever is not part of this sect is good as dead person.
The same, which has never been part of Islam.
Never.
Even your prophet said
exactly. He said
how you should treat
others, Christians and others. Don't even insinuate against their own faith, because they will insult God. Allow them. It is up to God to make you follow one religion or the other. The way we are created different and so on. The same people who are behind in this kind of intolerant ideology in the name of Islam are the ones behind the same thing in a situation to say a pastor should not marry. But they were recording what the pastors were doing. Human beings, you are preventing human beings from marrying, but they are doing so many things inside, not even the natural way. In the name of it, making miracles, they are into cultism. Because cultism it had to do with the devil. Devil knows God, but he will make you challenge God directly. So with the cultism, all this abuse of the children in the church and so on, now they started exposing them, humiliating. So as a Muslim, when you see Christianity being humiliated, you don't feel okay. Because to us, Christianity, Judaism and so on, all the same God. The same God sent different prophets to teach us. So anybody attacking the other one, you should feel terrible about it, because it will eventually reach you.
Okay, let's move on. We have seen, let's come back to Nigeria, if we may. Again, we move on to things which are not very good, not very happy. We've seen lots of kidnapping even here in Kaduna State. Several incidents have come to pass over the last few months, and even over the Easter weekend there was a British national who was murdered in Kajuru. Watch this short report from Channels Television.
Still in the northwest, gunmen suspected to be kidnappers have killed 2 persons and abducted 3 others in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State. The State Police Command spokesman, DSP Yakubu Sabo, who confirmed the incident in a statement, says that the gunmen, who were armed with dangerous weapons, invaded Kajuru Castle Resort at about 2 p.m. on Saturday, shooting sporadically. In the process, shooting dead 2 persons, including a female expatriate lady, and taking away 3 others. He says investigation by the police revealed that the victims, along with 12 others, came from Lagos on a tourism tour, after which they organized the party at a castle located on the hilltop. He says that efforts are ongoing to rescue the abducted persons and apprehend the criminals. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency has donated relief materials to displaced victims of the attacks in Kajuru area of the state. The Executive Secretary of Katsema, Ben Kure, who presented the material, said that they are meant to cushion the sufferings of the victims.
Over 3,000 victims of frequent attacks in almost 10 communities in Kajuru local government area have been forced into camps as refugees.
I apologize for the state government to see us, to help us for the building materials and the rest of things, so that we shall go in back our various places, so that we shall continue helping ourselves.
As the survivors continue to wonder what the future holds, the Kaduna State government, through the State Emergency Management Agency, begins the process of rebuilding their homes.
In line with the directives that the governor has instructed that a reassessment be conducted by the relevant agencies, and then he wants to see that people that were affected return to their homes within 2 weeks.
The Anglican Bishop of Kaduna Diocese also supplies relief materials and appealed to the federal government to tackle the security challenges in the country.
The principle that brings peace in any society is number 1, justice. If everybody sees that justice is being done, everybody will be happy. That is 1. Number 2, we call on government to build a rapport with the people. so that the people can trust government and then government can trust the people. It is a two-way affair.
Peace and security are key things the people of Kaduna yearn for. But while they wait for the government to step up security operations, a comprehensive reconciliation between the warring parties is crucial.
Yeah, see, again, reflects what's happening here in, shall we say, northern Nigeria. I saw a quote an article by Senator Shehu Sani, who stated that northern Nigeria is under siege. Prof, what would you say about that?
When you say northern Nigeria, so on, when Nigeria is just one body. When you nail, you have pain in your nail, it means the entire body is not well. And therefore, you see, when like what the pastor said, there is a lot of lack of injustice. And the establishment, again, now in the West, people gathered together in order to get rid of the establishment through the polls by voting them out. But in our own case, the establishment has the money to buy votes. So those who feel aggrieved, they'll go the wrong way in order to do it. And therefore, I just believe that, one, the presidency, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary should make sure that there is no rivalry among the security agencies. Number two, all the promises made by politicians should be seen to be kept. So it's the same thing now happening now, giving it a religious coloration or ethnic coloration. What you have in Taraba recently between the Jukun and the thief.
That's an old,
killing one another.
Old rival.
Most of them, over 90, each of them over 95% are Christians and traditionalists. Now it is moving to another thing, from religion to, and those things, until all of us remember that religion is something that you do with you and God. But even if you are not practicing very well your own religion, that particular religion tells you to be of good character to others. They have the rights over whatever position that you have. And this is why should we continue to be thinking to place our own thinking above our humanity?
Don't you think religious leaders should be educating the people, the young people particularly, more?
Yes, they are doing. Some of them are treacherous, and they are also paid to do the wrong thing behind the scene. When the cameras are out and so on, they dictate, they teach certain things in order to make money. Imagine what happened in the past in Anambra or Enugu, with two feuding guys who made their money. You cannot ask the source of their own money, but they went there to fight in the church, killing many. That story has gone. Nobody is talking about it. And again, when you say herdsmen and so on, their animals are being rustled, taken away. Until we discover those who rustle away their own thing, take them back to them, the frustration will continue. And therefore, I just believe that security is the number one. Number one, if a government cannot provide security, it has lost.
It's lost its credibility.
Its credibility. And therefore, tourism and so on is not possible. I just wonder how this lady went without a security. Even in the past, when we had fairly good security.
I have been to that castle.
Exactly, you had guides.
A group of people 5-6 years ago from Lagos, we had security. But then, of course, 5-6 years ago, we didn't have the same problems.
Without security and so on.
Now, it's nationally known there's a problem in Kaduna.
It is no longer safe. They say this: we are under siege. In the past, the Shehu of Borno said it. and others, when you say the truth, it is painful. But in truth, we are under siege.
Again, 5, 6, 8 years
Today,
ago,
you just get your camera and go to the railway station between Kaduna and Abuja.
Yeah.
You'll see big people, under normal circumstances, you don't even see them. But they are struggling with the common man to get the ticket.
To get the ticket for the train.
For the fear of kidnapping.
I can remember when I, with some other expatriate friends and Nigerian friends, we used to go in a group, go camping in the bush.
Yes.
By rivers and lakes. We can't do that now.
You can't.
That was history. Everybody's afraid.
It's so painful.
It's sad. There we must unfortunately end the programme, and unfortunately a very sad note this week. But we hope some of the things we've talked about might get recognised by some of the people in authority. And I'd like to thank Professor Dikwa, thank you very much sir, to the cameraman here in the studio, to the control room staff and the production staff of Liberty Global Reports. And please keep watching Liberty Television and watch Global Reports next week, same time, same place.